Hi, I'm Stephanie James. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I'm here to talk to you today about ways that you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system. It's really important these days, with everything that's going on in our world, to learn how we can move from a stress response to a response of relaxation. So often, what's going on in our outer world starts dictating how we feel internally. And we can feel like we don't have any control over it. And yet we do. We can really have control over our inner experience. So that's one of the things I want to teach you about today. Now, one of the things that's really important is understanding how this system gets activated in the first place. One of the things that happens is that we have something called the primitive brain or the reptilian brain, which is really located back here in the back of our brain. And that's the part of us that is the fight, flight, or freeze response. Now, in the caveman days, this brain served us really well. It's what helped perpetuate our survival and the species. So what was important in those times is if, let's say, a saber-toothed tiger came around the corner, what we would do then is our adrenaline would start pumping, our blood pressure would rise, our heartbeat would quicken, and it would allow us then, through the release of adrenaline and cortisol, to either run as fast as we can, run away from this, or we could fight. It'd give us extra strength pumped up into our muscles. Or if we froze, I think most times we were lunch. So that response wasn't entirely helpful. What is true now, we don't have a lot of saber-toothed tigers around, but what we do is we make situations, people, circumstances into our modern day saber-toothed tigers. So it's important to know what we can do in dealing with them. There's so many different things we can do which will activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's what helps to calm us down, slow down our blood pressure, our heart rate, and really give us the ability to resource ourselves in a different way, where we're very grounded and we're able actually at that point to start really healing that vagus nerve system. So one of the things that I have found really helpful in my private practice and working with clients that have had trauma or that have panic disorders, as well as just people that experience everyday anxiety, is something called 4-7-8 breathing. And in 4-7-8 breathing, I want you to think of that as counts. Because what happens when we get caught into that primitive brain, what happens is the signal to our body through that very shallow breathing and that nervousness is, oh my God, I'm in distress. Okay, I'm in danger. So we want to help send the signal to our brain that all is well, I'm relaxed. So in order to do that, we have to kind of trick the brain by doing a different kind of breathing. The way we do that in 4-7-8 breathing is to take a deep breath in through your nose down into your belly for the count of 4. So you take a nice deep breath in, and then you're going to hold it for the count of 7, which helps slow down your breathing. And then slowly, you're going to release that breath through your mouth all the way out to the count of 8. You'll notice that you start running out of breath towards count 6 or 7. And you want to engage your diaphragm and keep pushing it out. And you do this, I think you can do this 4 or 5 times until you really feel your breath settling down. At that point, you can just close your eyes for a few minutes, take an inventory of how you feel, and you'll notice that, wow, sometimes when people close their eyes and they're doing this kind of breathing technique and then open their eyes, they're like, wow, things look really different, because you've calmed down your entire system. So that's just one of the different techniques that you can use. There's also a beautiful technique called out-tensing the tension. A lot of times we don't even realize how stressed we are. We're such multitaskers that we keep doing it over and over and over again, piling on more and more tasks or more and more worries. So one of the ways that we deal with this is to do some wonderful tension work. It sounds odd to say tension work, but really this technique is called out tensing the tension. So it starts with focusing on your toes. So if you focus on your toes right now and you scrunch them up in your shoes, just as tight as you can scrunch them, I want you to feel what that tension feels like. Make them tight, 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 and then slowly release and feeling the blood come back in to your toes. Then what you want to do is wherever you're sitting, and it's best to do this sitting down, you can also do it lying down, is to point your toes up towards your shins, as if you were trying to touch your toes towards your shins. And as you do that, you're going to feel the pull in your feet, the bottom of your feet, as well as in your shins. And so you want to pull it back as tight, tight, tight as you can, and then release. And for all these exercises, you might want to do them twice in a row, or you can run through the whole sequence twice. So it really helps, though, feel the difference between the tension and then the relaxation. The next step is to raise your heels with straight legs off the ground about 6 inches, really pressing your thighs together, really tightening up your legs, tight, tight, tight. Feel all the tension. And then slowly, and then taking a deep breath with the exhale, release. Now the next one we refer to oftentimes as pinching a penny. So it's as if you had a penny between the cheeks of your bottom. And so you're squeezing your gluteus maximus together, tight, 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 tight. And that being one of our largest muscle groups, you'd be surprised at how much tension that is really stored there. So really allow yourself to squeeze that muscle, tight, 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 and then relax completely. Now the next step in this is letting your stomach really get tight, as if when you were a kiddo, you may have had a friend or your honorary brother come up and you guys would say, okay, punch me in the stomach, and you make it really hard so it doesn't hurt. So that's what we're going to do for this. You're going to really make your stomach tight, 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 all those internal organs tight, scrunching up the muscles, and then releasing and letting go. It's also, like I said, really helpful. Take a deep breath in between these exercises. It can really help. Now for this next one, what you're going to do is you're going to fill your lungs up as much as you can and just hold it. So you just do a really deep breath in. Just like that, you feel your lungs expanded, your rib cage tight, and you just hold it. You can hold it for about the count of 8 until you really start noticing that sensation and then breathing out. The next one is imagine that you're trying to touch your shoulder blades together. And so really feeling that tension between your shoulder blades and concentrating on it. And then releasing and letting go. And then, this is one of my favorites. I tend to store my stress right here. Sometimes we call this carrying the weight of the world. And so one of the ways you can deal with this stress and this tension is just making it as tight as you can, raising both of your shoulders up towards your ears as high as they'll go, making it tight, tight, tight. Again, noticing what the tightness feels like. And then as you release, how good that feels. Okay, so now we're going to move into your hands. So you want to tighten your hands as tight as you can, making big fists, tight, 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 and then you slowly release and let that go. And then you can do this double again right now, or you can wait till the very end. Okay. Same things like with the feet. You're going to do a tipping back of your hands until you feel the tension through your forearms. Okay. Making that very tight and then releasing. Now the next one is to make a muscle. So you can make a muscle with your arms. You can do them both at the same time if you wish. Some people like it this way. Some people prefer it this way. So whatever feels best to you, what you're going to do is really make that tight, tight muscle with your bicep, really feel it, squeeze it, and then relax. The last few have to do with your face. And so what you want to do for these is you're going to scrunch up your entire face all together. You can purse your lips, scrunch your eyes, clench your jaw, and then release. And so you can do that again. Just absolutely scrunch, 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 very tight, and then release. For your neck, that's one of the ones that some people like to do and some people don't. So it really is optional. If you have a really tight neck, sometimes it really helps to release that tension by either bringing your chin down as far as you can to your chest and practicing that 2 times, and then tipping back as if you're laying your head on the, trying to lay your head on the back of your shoulders. So what you'll find as you do this is you're actually relaxing all of those muscle groups through tightening them, and then as the blood rushes through them again, it's opening up those capillaries and we feel much more relaxed. You'll be amazed with how this body-mind connection works. As we slow down the way that our body's responding to stress just by a couple of these very simple but profound activities, you notice that you start feeling better, you have more resiliency, you feel grounded, and so we're better able to deal with the road bumps that inevitably come through life. And this is just one of the ways, these are just a couple of the ways to help you navigate through whatever stressors come up. And you can do so beautifully. So thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure working with you.